Welcome to Growth, powered by FareHarbor, where we explore the strategies behind thriving tour and activity businesses. From industry experts to operators in the field, we're diving into real stories, practical advice, and tips for leveraging FareHarbor's software to fuel your business growth. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, this podcast is packed with insights to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, FareHarbor's Community Manager, Rebekah Costley.
Hello, Zack. How's it going today?
It's great. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. At the time of this recording, you were actually my first guest on Growth powered by FareHarbor. How does it feel?
I'm honored to be your first guest. Well, you're my first podcast. I've never been on a podcast before.
The first of many. I see it in your future. I'm really excited to have you here, not just because you're my first guest, but also because you're kind of like a little bit of a FareHarbor celebrity. Back when I was an account manager, it was typically you talking about like our new features and training us on what the product team specifically is working on. So I think our audience would love to hear a little bit about you at FareHarbor. We love fun facts. So maybe a fun fact about you and kind of your journey here at FareHarbor.
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Chicago. I moved out here to Denver. That's where we currently are, like 10 years ago. And I've been at this company for 8 years. So love FareHarbor. Obviously, I've been here for 8 years, almost a decade. It's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Fun fact, I say I'm allergic to bees, but I'm just scared of them.
Oh my God,
The secret's out. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
Yep.
I need to walk away.
Yeah.
I just calmly walk away. I'm saying I'm allergic.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
A little cry, maybe.
Maybe.
And we're in Denver, Colorado today, recording from our office here in Denver. And there's not that many bugs here. I think it's one of my favorite things about Colorado.
Me too.
Is we're pretty bugless for the most part.
I haven't seen a mosquito in years.
Yeah. Or probably a good slice of pizza.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I miss some deep dish pizza.
On the topic of FareHarbor, I think people get a little bit confused exactly what product means in the world of software and specifically what it means in like FareHarbor terms. Can you explain that for our audience a little bit?
Sure. Product is what you use. So the dashboard, everything in the dashboard, some things connected through APIs, anything that you use, a client would use every day. That's what the product is. And so we build out, we iterate, we continue to grow this FareHarbor dashboard so that we can grow our clients, we can grow the market. Yeah, it's all the new features that you may see, like seating, memberships, stuff like that. Yeah, the product is everything that clients use. And
that's like the best part of FareHarbor, obviously, besides our wonderful support team that I always sing praises about, and I know our clients do too. How much of a role do you play here in training the different departments and learning our new features?
I'll go over the role I'm in. So I'm a product enablement manager. And so my role here is to ensure that all employees understand what we're building, what we come out with, what we roll out. So any new features, they'll be trained on, there'll be help documentation. We want to make sure that our employees are armed with all the knowledge and tools they have to make sure that our clients are as successful as possible. So if a new feature comes out, it is my job to train, make sure help documentation is good to go. Yeah, we just want to make sure that everyone is enabled with the knowledge.
Yeah, what they need to succeed with the software, which is one thing I love about FareHarbor in general, is that our success is so deeply rooted in our client success. And I think clients feel that sense of partnership as well. And that's really exciting to me. So before we head off into more specific things about the FareHarbor product, I really want to know, like, what's the most exciting thing about your job and even working in like this tourism reservation tech space? What's been really exciting for you in the past 8 years?
So I started as an onboarder and we built dashboards. We trained on the dashboards. And then I grew into a builder. So I specifically did builds. I did live client builds. Then I moved to a technical account manager. And then from there, I moved into the product realm of product liaison, product rollout specialist, and now where I'm at. So I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I've also done stuff like integrations and helped with support as well. But the things that I have a fond memory of is actually meeting with clients. So when I was an onboarder and a technical account manager, I would meet with clients in person. So meeting with these clients has been amazing. Seeing how our clients actually use the software is very cool. Everyone uses it differently.
Ever get to do any of the fun activities that our clients offer?
Yes. When I'm in person, they're like, thank you for your help. If you want to do this.
What's the scariest or coolest one that you've done?
Well, there's an outdoor man-made wave park. So like for surfing, they offered me to do that. I've never surfed before, so I did not do that, but I did their wakeboarding side of things. That was in Texas. That was a good time.
That sounds like a good time. I would be terrified. I'm a terrible swimmer. Were you a good swimmer?
I'm a terrible swimmer too.
But in the wake, it's like shallow.
You're also wearing a life vest.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
I would be frightened.
I would not be doing it without life vest.
Yeah, I need the life vest for my life, coincidentally enough. You talk about it a lot I hear a lot of context. So I hear a lot of like, you see these clients in person, you see how they leverage the software, you see how something like resources can be used so differently, how booking calendars can look and be utilized in so many different layouts in so many different ways. Yeah. What do you do with that information once you get back to the office, once you're done wakeboarding? What does that look like with that information you carry back home with you?
I think with in-person visits, just feedback from clients in general, account managers, onboarders, just everyone talking, understanding how clients utilize in their own businesses, what they do day to day. An important thing about the product side of things and my role is a feedback loop. It's part of our responsibility to get that feedback. So we look at all these emails, submissions to the product request form, the product managers the ones who build out the actual features and stuff. They're reading every single piece of feedback, whether it's from an in-person visit to a email to an account manager.
Absolutely. And not to, drink the FareHarbor Kool-Aid, as the kids say, but I do think that's a huge part that makes FareHarbor such an industry leader in our space.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to know for you, what do you think sets FareHarbor apart? What do you think makes us such an industry leader?
No, that's a great question. Obviously, our product's amazing. You're using it. But that's like besides the point, like obviously. But what I think makes us the industry leader is, as you actually said, our support team. Our support is like the best support ever. Like imagine dealing with any kind of issue from like an internet company or whatever it may be. You're waiting on the phone for hours. They're not really helpful. Our support team gets rave reviews year after year after year after year. When I first joined FareHarbor, it was those reviews about support that made me want to be part of this company. So yeah, so shout out to support.
Yeah, huge shout out to support. As a former account manager, I cannot sing the praises of support enough. How often they save me in the questions where I'm like, how the heck do I do that? Yeah, and there's a word we keep saying in this episode, which is feature, feature, feature. So I would be remiss if I did not hit on the features that are coming up.
Sure.
Let's start with the features we have. With the features that have been leveraged for a little while now. You have a lot of site visits that you go on. You also, I assume, are as nosy as me, where I dive into different dashboards to see how they're leveraging FareHarbor, how it can be improved, gathering feedback, etc.
Sure.
But I'm curious for you, what features you think FareHarbor has that are the most underutilized or maybe not leveraged enough from a client perspective?
Yeah, sure. This year, we've come out with some sweet ones. I would say we have a feature called combos. Actually, we have a bunch of features that should be utilized more. Combos, which allows the client to kind of better upsell another feature. So if you're a company that does like lodging and then maybe ATV rentals or something of that sort, if someone is booking the lodging aspect, there's like a big in your face, like, here, book ATV rentals and get a 20% discount or however you want. We also have affiliate rules, which allows the charter company, the client, to kind of control more of their online bookings from their affiliates. So it allows for more online bookings for the client, which is great.
Yeah, let's pause there on affiliate rules, because I think affiliates are a really hot topic right now, especially in community. So for those who obviously OTAs are necessary. I think they're extremely necessary. I think our clients can agree that, especially when you're first starting your business, they're really necessary. How can affiliate rules play into having a healthy boundary with your OTA?
As you said, the OTAs, affiliates, they're very important. They help the clients get those extra bookings that they may not have gotten without them. I would say that affiliate rules allows well, as a client or as a company, I would make sure that I have an agreement with the affiliate saying, hey, we're gonna do this where we want you to get around a quarter of the bookings or half the bookings. And you can kind of set that up with affiliate rules. So you can kind of protect your online bookings and get more of that versus the affiliates, but you still can give the affiliates a chunk of the bookings.
Right. Can you give me an example of what affiliate rule kind of, I know it's more of an audio medium here.
Yeah.
What's an example of like an affiliate rule?
A client can do something like during a holiday weekend, they want to get those online bookings, purely online bookings, or get a majority of them coming from online or direct. So they can set up a rule saying this specific weekend, I want to restrict all my affiliates from booking a certain amount of spots.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a game changer.
It's huge. Yeah. I think it's being underutilized.
Yeah, absolutely. And combos too, I've noticed could really be leveraged. Now, by the time this episode comes out, we're going to be close into Black Friday season. You know how anything off the top of your head you can think of on how our clients can leverage the combos feature for maybe Black Friday promotions? Is that something that's possible?
I think so. They can probably upsell gift cards. I think gift cards are a huge win for companies. I still have a bunch of gift cards I haven't used the whole value on. And sometimes I use a gift card and I still need to pay more. So it incentivizes people to come and book. So I would say that would be a good deal. You can also just start doing discounts for those ones you want to upsell.
Yeah.
So like a Black Friday, you can upsell and say, hey, 50% off if you book this with this option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, manually you could go in there and be like, for, this week of November, we'll prompt them at checkout to get a discount of 15% on their additional booking. And I believe those headlines that call out when the end user or the customer is checking out, that call out for them to add another activity is customizable.
It is. You can say like, book this for Black Friday, whatever it may be. You have the opportunity to change the title and description and obviously choose the discount as well.
I love combos.
Yeah, I love combos too. And they're going to continually grow too. So we, as product, we are now on this movement to build iteratively. So we want to build things and maximize their value and how we do that is we build based upon feedback and product submissions and client interviews and surveys and all that stuff. And so we build the base minimum, the MVP. And then once it's out there, we can get feedback from our clients to see, okay, we have this, we've given you this value. How can we add more value? So we can keep growing and growing and growing and building out more things. So for example, combos, there's going to be more iterations of it from its current state. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on the topic of feedback, before we move on to what else we've released this year, what's the best way a client can give feedback? You mentioned earlier that we have a team on product who reads every single suggestion. I get a lot of great feedback on new releases, especially in community. And I know that product is heavily involved in reading those suggestions. But in general, what's the best way? Is that a support ticket? Is that contacting an account manager? What does effective feedback look like and who should they send it to? Yeah,
I think you nailed it. If you have an account manager, if you work with support often, if you have any feedback, the client should just tell them. There are certain cases where we have beta testing with new features. So we select a group of clients, they're participating in this beta where we will give them the feature early. We will listen to their feedback. And that's one way that they can help us build and kind of curate the features that we build. We have a whole team for this that just reaches out to clients and figures out how they're using the dashboard, what they need and stuff as well. So there's many ways that they reach out to someone at Fair Harbor. That information will get to the product team.
Yeah. And again, to call out our support team, they're so organized. They're so good at receiving that feedback and making sure it gets to the right place. Okay. So I would not be doing my job very well if I didn't talk about abandoned cart recovery with you. Let's talk a little bit about how it works. I'd also love to hear about the why it works the way it does, because it's a little bit different than what I would see at like when I shop at Zara or when I'm at Sephora. So I would love to hear the why on the way that it works, the reasoning behind it for our industry and what sets it apart and everything about it. Really, our clients are really jazzed about it.
Sure. So abandoned cart recovery this is a feature where if a customer online gets the book form, fills fills out their email but does not complete the booking, 2 hours after they have left the book form, we will send an email saying, hey, do you want to continue booking this item? The why it works like this is kind of like what I said earlier. We build iteratively. So this is the first step of abandoned cart recovery. It's out there, it's valuable. And then once we hear feedback and receive feedback, I guess, then we'll shape it and potentially change it and iterate on it as well. But yeah, it's really important. I think during our beta testing, there was like 100,000 bookings and we captured around 6 or 7, but don't quote me on this. But we saw a huge amount of bookings that were recovered just because an email was sent to the customer afterwards.
And what is that time frame now for when that email's sent after the customer abandons the booking?
It's 2 hours.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's fresh. Maybe they left for some reason, but now this isn't a quick reminder saying, hey, did you actually mean to book this? You should book it.
Right. And I think that's a perfect amount of time too, because there are so many of our clients out there where there's the last minute booker. So they're just trying to see what's available the next day or the next couple days. So I think that 2 hour window really works out. Is that your same opinion? Is that the way that?
Yeah, it was originally 24 hours. And then we received feedback from those who were using it. And we figured out that the 2 hour time frame is prime, I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we have abandoned cart recovery. Mm-hmm. We have affiliate rules. We touched a little bit on memberships. Oh, Doc released this year.
I'd love to talk about Doc.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Doc, which is kind of the opposite principle to abandoned cart recovery, right? We have the customer in front of us. How can we make their experience even more fun and easier on both our clients and the customer by using this interface?
Sure. FareHarbor Doc is a new app that we built out for iOS and Android. So it should work on the iPad and any Android tablets or most Android tablets. It's in the help page, which ones are available. So this is an app that it's all for in-person bookings. And so there's 2 different modes. There is a staff mode, which allows for quick bookings. So normally our clients are using computers or laptops, and there's a lot of clicking, and it takes a little bit. When there's a huge line, you just want to kind of like press a few buttons and then get the person on and paid and checked in. So staff mode allows for that, allows for quick bookings. You can just easily tap on the item, customer type, any custom fields that are required, and then have them pay. So that's a huge benefit for our clients. It's also nice for our customers, less wait times, I would say. Now, kiosk mode is a huge game changer because it allows for this iPad to become a kiosk, essentially. So the customer can completely book themselves. They can enter in how many people, all the custom field information, pay all by themselves, which is beneficial for the client because, one, they don't need a person to make the booking for them. They can allow that staff member, instead of booking, to focus on the activities, to do whatever they need to do outside of making the booking. And for the customer, there's gonna be less wait times as well. You can put up 5 different iPads and the 5 different customers at once can book themselves. So it's huge.
I can see you light up when you talk about it.
Yeah, it's a great feature. It's a sweet application. We're going to continue to build out more things for it and help it grow. Because we feel like this is a huge game changer for our clients.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time, I think, when in the clients I've seen who use it. Mm-hmm. And you touched a little bit on this. So what's required is an iPad, right? And that's both for staff mode or kiosk mode. We need an iPad, right?
iPad or Android tablet.
And then we need a card reader.
Need a card reader. It has to be the Bluetooth card reader.
Okay.
We have 2 different options in the US, at least, where there's a Wi-Fi option and a Bluetooth one, but this works with the Bluetooth.
Now, can you give me some categories of clients that would work best with Doc? Off the top of my mind, I think those who do like rentals, it's a great one for. I'd love to hear what category of clients, whether they're water sports rentals, maybe it's a walking tour museum, self-guided tours. What kind of clients would benefit from this kind of feature?
The type, in my opinion, doesn't really matter as much of how they're going to use it. So if it's a client or if it's a company that, they have to ask 10 to 20 questions in order for this person to be checked in, this may not be the best fit for them because it's all about quickness and having the customer do it on their own. So I would say like if you're a rental company, if you're a walking tour, that's great. As long as there's a place for this iPad to live and there's internet connected to it, they should use it. So pretty much anyone where get the person in, have them pay, and then check in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a demo in community on FareHarbor Doc as well, if anyone wants to see it more visually. So we talked about Doc now, probably most requested feature I've seen, which is abandoned cart recovery. And then there's another feature we have to talk about that our clients were so excited for, and that is waivers. So can you talk a little bit about FareHarbor waivers, who's the right client for FareHarbor waivers, and maybe touch once again on the importance of iterations.
Sure. So FareHarbor waivers is a free in-house option. So if you work with FareHarbor, you can get free waivers. That being said, as you just mentioned, it is still part of like the early stages of it. So it doesn't have all the same functionality that a third-party waiver system may have, like Werewolf or Swan Waiver, those companies that we work with. So we're never saying like, don't work with those companies, work with us. It's more about what functionalities the client needs or what the company needs. And then you should figure it out based upon that. What ours has is you can sign online, you can accept, it works with a minor. So you can say this is for a minor, this is not for a minor. You can add a description, all this kind of stuff. So it's like very basic, but it is free and it works for those clients that don't need these supplemental features from those third-party clients.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's hard to miss, I think, the FareHarbor waivers, and the layout is just so easy to understand as the customer.
Yep.
And does that come in an email? What does the waiver look like? So if I just booked, I just got all the way to the end of the booking process. When do I get that waiver? Is it via email? Does it prompt me there on the confirmation screen?
Sure. So after you book, you'll receive a confirmation. You either go to the confirmation page or receive a confirmation email. On either of those, there's going to be a button that says sign waiver. So you click on that button in the email or on that page, and it'll bring you to a whole new page that's tied to your booking. So if you sign it, then that information is going to be pulled into the booking itself. So if I book a tour and I sign it, then if I was the client, I want to see who on this booking signed it. You can actually go to the booking overview. So find the booking ID, find the person's name, search it that way, and then scroll down. You'll see this person specifically signed the waiver, and you can actually view a PDF of the waiver all in FareHarbor.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about a little more of a conceptual level. So we've gotten on like FareHarbor features technically. I'd love to talk a little bit of concepts. So what features does FareHarbor currently have that you think could be utilized to grow bookings online? I think personally, this is a personal opinion, with FareHarbor, our interface is, for lack of a better term, pretty. I think it's easy, it's visually appealing, and that's why I think end users or our clients' customers enjoy the booking process a little more and ultimately can see more conversions.
For sure.
So from a product perspective, what product features does FareHarbor have that you think are leveraged to get more bookings online and ultimately help our customers grow?
We've actually spoken about a few of them. So combos, we saw an increase. If a client uses combos, there's an increase of multiple bookings just because that thing's in the customer's face. Like, oh, wow, this is a good deal. I never thought about booking this as well. I'm already there. Why not do both things? So that's a way to get an additional booking from a customer. Say affiliate rules as well, as we talked about. It allows the client to kind of control for more online bookings compared to their affiliate bookings. Memberships are nice because it allows the client to receive that money up front from the customer so I buy a membership for $200. And then with the membership, you can set up these like rewards, these discounts. So to incentivize the customer to continue to come back to book. So like I buy a Zoom membership and every time I get 50% off every time I want to go or something like that. So that will allow for and boost online sales as well. I would say gift cards are great. We talked about that as well. So gift cards are always a good thing to sell, always have online. I would say FHDN.
Yeah, that's a big one.
FareHarbor Distribution Network. This essentially allows clients to promote other companies while also having their own experiences distributed online through like affiliates, hotels, airlines, without the burden of having these kind of contracts. So it's a way just to get your stuff out there to sell more to clients. And it's like a kind of a community of people. So you sell other people and they sell your stuff type of deal, which is very cool. I would say dynamic pricing.
A huge one.
That one's really maybe not necessarily get more online bookings, but to maybe make some more money out of those online bookings, because how you can set things up is really cool. You can set up per capacity. So if there's like 2 spots left in your activity, you can potentially increase the price by $10 or $15, however you want. You can also, if there's like 2 days, within 2 days or within a day, you can also increase pricing or decrease pricing, however you want to do it. So that's a really effective tool that clients should use, I would say. There's also a team that's geared towards and specifically focused on online bookings. They have projects like branding and theming. So in the light frame, as all of our clients know, it's blue. Like all the buttons are blue or green, depending on how our color scheme is. With theming, we can actually match the color of the client's website to the light frame so that the buttons, right? This is in, I think, beta testing right now. This will be out potentially by the time people watch this.
That's like huge. That's really exciting.
Yeah. So if you have a pink website, you can have pink buttons. So it's all looking like one cohesive website.
I don't know if I can think of anything cooler than a pink light frame. I don't think that might just be me, I admit, but I can't think of anything cooler. Okay, so we're talking about growth. Let's talk about operations. So same question, but for streamlining operations for our clients. What's the benefit of FareHarbor? What could the listener right now not be thinking about how they can streamline with FareHarbor, make things easier on them on the back end?
Sure. There's a lot of things. We care. We know that our clients are using us. We want to make it as easy as possible. So we have custom manifests. We have custom calendars. So the client or a specific user can create a calendar view that's best for them. So if they only want to see certain items in the calendar or in the manifest, they can do that, or ones that certain users or staff members are attached to, they can do that so that they don't have to see a whole, like if they have 30 items, they don't need to see everything if they don't have to. So we want to have the ability for customization. What's really cool about that is you can default a view, a manifest or calendar view per user. So if I am just someone who needs to make reservations for like these 3 items, every time I log in, I'll only see that specific custom calendar view and that specific manifest to make it easier on them.
I love custom manifests, especially from the aspect of like crew or who's looking at them, who's signed in and looking at it.
For sure.
I think it makes things so much easier. There's so many site visits where I've been on where that booking calendar is so overwhelming to look at the start of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I love utilizing those custom views to make sure you're seeing what you need to see for that applicable window of time or that day.
Yeah. So if you haven't started using those, you should use those. I would say notifications as well. So we have email notifications and the app notifications. So if you're logged into the FareHarbor app on your phone and you have, anytime a booking happens, you can receive a push notification on your phone to say, oh, great, I got a booking for this item or for this activity. So you can do stuff like get a notification when there's a booking, when there's a cancellation, when you're assigned as a crew member. It's just like a super useful thing. You can also have the manifest sent out to you every day. So if
that's great.
Yeah. So if you're like mostly just wondering what's going to look like for the next day, you can have an email sent to you in the morning. It shows you the whole manifest for the day.
How much can our clients really utilize and lean on our support team to help them when they're wanting to make something more custom? And I know we're on the subject of like custom booking calendars and custom manifests, but on the topic of customization, our reporting is so in-depth. I think it's really intuitive, but there's a lot of settings there to get what you need because there's so many different needs you might want in that particular day, quarter, what have you. Can our clients lean on support a little bit to help them with those really unique questions?
Yeah, for sure. I would always say like we always have help documentation on it. So if you're more of a reader and that's how you learn, definitely use help documentation. But we have 24/7 support. They're happy to help out however is needed. So yeah, they can absolutely reach out to our support team to help with those like weird or niche kind of situations.
Okay, so we talked about what we have now. We talked about what we've released. I know you're my first guest, so I don't know how much of an inside scoop I get, but I would love to give the listeners out there the little bit of the scoop, the hot goss maybe, on what FareHarbor has coming. I know you talked about themes, which I'm so excited about, but what else can clients be jazzed about for the rest of the year or maybe even beyond?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, theming, that's coming out soon. We're working on this feature called private events. So imagine you're a huge boat, or you have this facility where where people rent out the entire thing. And it could be for like weddings or parties or anniversary, anything that they want to rent out the whole thing for. We're working on private event, this feature where you can create your own contract, send out this contract to the customer, have them agree upon it. You can set up payment schedules with the client. So you can say like, after 2 weeks, we want 20%. After 3 weeks, you want another 50%, or however it's going to be. You can set that up with them.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's really cool. And it's going to open up a whole new market for us. And I'm sure that if you're not one of those big boat companies or whatever it may be, there's probably a way it could be used for you in a certain way. But that's like our main target audience is these big companies that could rent out the entire thing, where you need to figure out like every food option, drink option, whatever the party is going to be or whatever the event is going to be. And you want to set up a kind of a contract. So it's more expensive than maybe just a normal booking. It could be like a $20,000 event.
Oh yeah.
And you have to set up everything, set up a contract, sign in, make sure that both parties are agreed upon what's going to happen. What's pretty cool is that we're going to add a couple new statuses for the booking. So there's going to be a proposal. So as soon as you make the first booking, it's a proposal. And until the payment schedule is agreed upon, the contract is signed and stuff, then you can actually confirm it. And then if there's any resources like vehicles or lodging or whatever it may be, at that point when it's confirmed, it'll actually take up those resources. But until then, it's all just like a proposal waiting for them.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a sweet feature. So.
Wow. I feel like we got the inside scoop here.
That's one. Another one is, I don't know how many of you listening right now use Square, and this is not an ad to start using Square, but if you do use Square, that's totally great. It's great. We are going to improve our Square integration. So we want to, again, we built iteratively. So the first iteration is going to be us pushing all of our booking data into Square. And I think like a good example of someone who's using Square is if they have a retail store and they also use FareHarbor for booking. So there's two different systems they have to look at for reporting and all this kind of stuff. And so what we're going to do is push all the booking data into Square so that they just have to look at Square for all their retail and booking needs.
I have to ask, what went into choosing Square to enhance that integration? Is that, I know that when, as a consumer, Square's the one I see the most. Was that the biggest reason we chose Square to enhance?
I would say that's part of it. We're also looking at how many clients of ours use it and what their needs are from it. So that's like the main one for retail. And a lot of feedback from our clients is they want a better retail option. And so this is kind of our gateway into our first step into setting up better retail for our clients. So they're widely used, and that's why we're using them. Doesn't mean we won't continue to integrate with more companies like Square. That's it. I mean, like, it's a first step, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll iterate based upon on the feedback and stuff.
That's amazing. Okay, so to recap, we got theming for the light frame.
Yep.
So that hot pink light frame is coming in.
Everyone can have hot pink if they want.
We got private events with pricing schedules and a Square integration coming up.
Yep.
And I'm again hearing the hot word of this episode, which is feedback. And so I think one of my last questions for you is going to be something we hear a lot about in community. So I'd love to get a behind the scenes, behind the curtain opinion from you, or even perspective from you on how FareHarbor ensures that these new features that we're coming out with are aligned with what our client base needs. How are those decisions made? And how does FareHarbor know that what we're releasing is applicable and timely for what our clients need?
There's a lot of things like we receive a lot of feedback. We reach out to clients. We do surveys. We do beta testing. We do all this kind of stuff. In terms of like product, making sure we build what is needed, we always look at our clients' pain points and feedback. And we want to make sure that we can kind of simplify the operations for them and obviously always create value. So that's like our goal, is to do that. I would say to achieve this goal, you need to understand where these pain points are coming from. How can we make this better? And then with that comes identifying some opportunities. So we look at all these different options we can have based upon user insights, data-driven insights. So we do a lot of research. We do a lot, look at market trends and all this kind of stuff to see what people are using, what they need, what's happening, what's really happening, how are people using this, and where can we improve? And so based upon that, we focus and we kind of iterate our thinking of like, okay, if we have this problem, here are 7 different ways we can solve it. And from that, we do more testing with clients to see, is this the right route, and kind of so on and so forth. I think it's probably impossible to create a one size fit all, but a goal of ours is to make data-driven decisions and
Get dang close to it.
And get close to it, exactly. And we want to get a majority, if not all. But again, it's impossible for every single client. A walk-in tour is not going to do the same thing as a rentals kind of company. So that's kind of how we look at it. It's really based upon data and then our internal surveying of clients, interviews with clients, beta testing, so on.
Yeah. And leveraging community feedback as well.
And community, of course, community on Facebook. You should join community.
Yes. Big plug for community. Yes. We love the feedback. Okay. This is my final question. I swear, if a client is passionate about, oh, this feature is so close to what I need, I'm really excited about future iterations. What does that good piece of feedback look like? What are some things they should include in their piece of feedback, whether they're sharing it in community or support ticket? What should that piece of feedback look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll tell you what we don't want. We don't want a solution. Mm-hmm. We want to know what is happening, what the pain point is. So if a client can describe, hey, I'm experiencing this when I do this, that's amazing. Because at that point, we can kind of categorize what's happening here and then figure out on our own. If we just get solutions, we don't necessarily know what the problem is. So I would say that's it. Just tell us what is happening and then we can figure out
what FareHarbor can do to fix it for them. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Zach, thank you so much for your time. I know this was a jump into the podcast void, and thank you so much for coming on and coming into the office today. I'm lucky that you're in Denver and also lucky you're so good at your job. Thank you again, Zach, our product enablement manager. Mm-hmm. I'll be sure to include in the comments and description of this episode, wherever you're getting it, some of the help docs that you mentioned. And thanks again so much for coming on.
Yeah, I want to thank you. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, wow.
This podcast, I think, went really well. I think there's a lot of useful information here. If clients have any questions about anything we talked about, help documentation, you can reach out to support about like, oh, I heard about memberships. Can I learn a bit more about that and what we can help out and however we can with that too?
Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming on, Zach.
Yeah, thank you.
And everyone, we'll talk to you next time.